We're going to have 25 bouncers down here. We got some driver bios we'll talk about later. The names of bouncers are really interesting. Can't wait to talk about that. This year, we're not going up as a start. We're coming down, going across, and going up. Some gnarly rocks. I got to watch some pre-running today. Some of those guys were out there getting it with qualifying. How was that?
You know, qualifying was really cool. I really liked it this year because it really was a legitimately little snapshot of what a King of the Hammers course was all about. But right now, this is all about the Holley EFI Shootout presented by Action Sports Canopies and King Shocks. And what we're going to be seeing right here is, we talked about this before we went live, Matt. It's like a modified hill in a hole. So for those of you guys who are used to watching rock bouncer stuff from the south, hill in a hole is like, let's come up with a nasty hill, let's come up with a nasty hole, throw these rock bouncers in it and see what happens.
Oh yeah, and again, perfect example, because we have downhill section, then they're going to have to run across the flatlands, so you'll have a very high-speed section. But some guys are really good at uphill, some guys are really good at downhill. We have some rocks. Again, we have a speed straightaway down here, so I think it's a really great mixture. Some guys might be a little more timid on that downhill, could cost him time. I know Travis Skelton, he's an OG rock bouncing guy. He's probably one of the fastest I've ever seen in a side-by-side. Literally just skips downhill. So,
well, I always say everything goes downhill, man. The gravity is your best friend when it comes to going downhill. But the reality is yes, this sand down here, for anyone who's not from Johnson Valley, you look out and you see this nice little sand here and you think, oh, it's like a beach in Florida. It's going to be so nice to drive across. The reality is when these guys come down these rocks, hit that sand is just like a big, sloppy, wet hole in South Tennessee. It is no traction, high horsepower. This is going to be a great event. It's super exciting to see it out here. This is a good twist. You know, I'm really excited to see what happens.
Oh yeah, again, great shot there. Love that hill. You can see how big some of those boulders are. And again, it's hard to kind of gauge that without being here. I tell people they range from like basketball size to like school bus size.
It is a bunch of big rocks. Have some fun.
Depending on how big a school bus you have, we have some pretty big rocks out here. Super excited. You can see at the top of the course, we have a couple of our buggies lined up. We got some Canadays coming down.
Yeah, those Canadians snuck down in here and come down and have some fun here. They always do. They love the rock bouncing on those. I think they're West Coasters. They're middle Canada guys. They're Albertans, I believe.
And it's so funny. I got to talk to one of them earlier this week that said, yeah, I know Ian. He used to teach my buddy in school. And I was like, oh, really?
Yeah, I'm an old man now, Matt. Yeah, I used to teach high school. That was my thing. Yeah, there's a lot. It's so cool to see that. I run across people on social media all the time. So, hey, man, you taught my kid or taught me, or I'm so awesome. So it's cool to see guys out here. But, yeah, you can see, look at the crowd we have out here in Chocolate Thunder, which is absolutely amazing. See, you can see the line. Look at the line of cars
awesome
coming out. This is honestly probably one of our most watched events here on the live stream every year. So many people tune in to watch this. It's great to see everyone out there. If you're out there, jump on Facebook, as our good friend Miles would say, hashtag it up.
Oh yeah.
Or you could just, use a hashtag, whichever one you want to do, but jump on Facebook. Matt's in here in the booth with me. He's got his computer fired up. He's going to be ready to answer questions. A bunch of our officials will be on there to answer stuff, but this is it. This is the Holley EFI Shootout presented by Action Sports Canopies and King Shocks. This is a super popular time here because, let's face it, if you're in Johnson Valley this week, Chocolate Thunder is where the party goes down when the sun goes down.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be awesome to see these bouncers out here tearing it up all night long.
Yeah, you can see a ton of the guys right there. That's marking the course over to the right side where the qualifiers were coming down today. Again, we had the EMC qualifying. Again, some of those guys were getting out there and getting with it. It was a lot of fun. We got down early to watch a little bit watch the last half of Power Hour. Holley EFI, again, is our sponsor for tonight for this year. They've sponsored it a few years. I know a lot of guys are running the Holley EFI Shootout, the Holley EFI systems. Sniper was a big popular one. They just came out with the Holley EFI system. It's around $1,000. Plug and play for all the LS swap guys out there. Again, you can see we got some campfires up there. The crowds are starting to pack in. It's going to be an awesome night. We got tons of lighting down here.
Yeah, and if you're in Hammertown, get out here because we got everything you'd want out here. We got rock bouncers doing rock bouncer things. Ultra 4 is going to go out here, some to show up, and then best of all, we got some Dang Brothers Pizza out here being cooked. So you got everything you need. You got lots of fun. You got some great live stream. You got stuff to eat. Get out here. So while we wait for this course to get cleared out, let's go ahead and take a quick break from the action. We'll be back shortly with live from Johnson Valley OHV for the Holley EFI Shootout presented by Action Sports Canopies and King Shocks.
to go to do your rig right, and that's at 4 Wheel Parts. Now is the time for bigger tires and larger wheels. Now is the time to lift your truck at 4WP.
Welcome back, everybody, to, once again, here we are live from Johnson Valley OHV. Tonight is all about the Holley EFI Shootout, presented by Action Sports, Canopies, and King Shocks. I'm in the booth. My good friend Matt Holt. We're here to show up and show out with a bunch of rock bouncers.
Oh, yeah.
And Matt loves rock bouncers.
I do.
If you cut his vein, a little rock bouncer falls out.
It does.
That's
Just a little
works.
teal one. Teal and white, just kind of run around.
Teal and white rock bouncer. All right, so where we're at right now, we have our first competitors sitting up at the top of the trail. They're going to be coming down this section of trail, which is different. We haven't done that before.
Yes.
I'm loving this year's King of the Hammers. It's all about, we've never done that before.
We've seen that 3 or 4 times so far.
I'm loving this. This is like the year of, I've never done that before at King of the Hammers. Well, here we are at the shootout. We're starting going down the hill.
And it was awesome yesterday. 2 days ago, we got to watch the Great American Short Course stuff, the Pro 2 class. Awesome. I got to watch their final race. Absolutely sending it. Very, very cool to watch.
All right, so we're just hearing from race ops right now that they believe the course looks clear. And I think we're getting ready for, so who's our first car off the line here,
We got Jason Barnum here, and he has ran previously. Again, you notice those 2 big green whips we've seen whipping out here on this hill. So he's run with us before. Obviously, it's black and green. You can see that right now, but his buggy's black and green, hence why the big green whips. He's running a 6-liter LQ9. Again, I think they're getting ready to send him. Also running a Turbo 400. Similar rock bouncer terrain. You'll see a lot of LS guys on the East Coast and Midwest. Again, the LS is such a popular engine, so we've seen so many different guys swap it in. Again, that's why the Holley EFI system works so well with it.
And as you were saying this, Jason, it looks like a big 4-seater buggy from the looks of it, little trail chassis turned into a rock bouncer. I think we've seen him out here, like you said, a few times competing with us. So he's coming down here. Like we said, the course is once again one of a kind for this year's King of the Hammers. They're going to be coming down this section of the trail, and this is a big drop for those of you at home. Like, we are down where that little light is down there. You can't see us, but right now in this shot, I'm way down at the bottom there with Matt. You can't even see us. We're so small. So we're talking about probably in 1/8 of a mile, he's going to drop maybe 100, 150 feet, and then he's going to have to turn right, drop into the sand. The sand is not traction friendly. They're going to need high horsepower, lots of power, all 4 wheels spinning and digging, where they end up into Chocolate Thunder, where they actually hit some big old rocks. Yeah,
and again, it's going to be pretty gnarly. The high-speed section we talked a little about, obviously everybody's going to be romping as hard as they can. We have some TSLs, we got some boggers out there, we have some Treps, we got some Baja Claws. We have a little bit of all tires out there, so it'll be interesting to see if one kind of plays the other. We have guys ranging from 38, 40-inch tires all the way up to 50-inch tires. We got some megas out there for some Canadians brought the big megas down. They run on 2.5
love those big tires.
They
I don't
do.
know what it is.
There's like 4 guys on 50-inch megas. And I don't know if it's a ground clearance thing or are they just doing it. Bigger tire runs over big rocks a little easier. However, it's a lot more weight to throw. So again, we've seen guys and bouncers on the East Coast and Midwest try a couple different options. It seems the 43 sticky is the best combination. So we'll see if that plays out today. Coming down, again, some guys like to push a little harder in the downhill section, so we'll see how that plays out.
I think time in this race is going to be made up in this downhill section. It's not fun going fast downhill.
It isn't.
Scary because, yeah, you're kind of out of control. That's just the reality of it. You're literally driving down a cliff. It's not fun. So, on this particular race course, from what we've seen on our qualifiers so far and what we've seen everyone else that are hitting it, the reality is once they get into that section of Chocolate Thunder, it's going to be a one-shot hit, get over and get out. That you have to do that. So the time to be made up here is going to be in this downhill section. The first person who comes down here, wide open.
Oh yeah,
fully committed. That's who's going to win this race.
Just sending it. Going out there and just sending it. It'll be interesting to see how some guys. I think you will see a lot of speed picked up. Everybody wants to go fast uphill. Everybody wants to go fast in the high speed section. Coming down, I think, is really going to be where you're going to see guys make and break it. They always kind of compare it to being fast in the desert versus being shaving seconds in the desert versus shaving minutes in rocks. That downhill section, I think, is going to be where they're going to shave the most time.
The downhill section is where we're going to see whoever our winner is, they're going to come down that downhill section incredibly fast. That's just the reality of it. Because I think the equalizer down here in the sand, that's a very good equalizer. Everyone's going to have to contend with that sand the same way. It's just high horsepower, wheel speed, let all four tires eat and dig and make through it. And it's tricky because you don't, until you've come down here and spent time down in this particular section of Chocolate Thunder, that sand, there is zero traction down there. You might as well be driving through a 1 foot deep mud bog at that point because it is loose, no traction, all four wheels spinning. There's nothing to be had there, and it's bottomless. You're not going to get there. So everyone's going to have to contend with that the same way. It's going to be a tight right turn into the sand, and then it's into the rocks of Chocolate Thunder. They get into the rocks of Chocolate Thunder, and then we're going to be basically coming down and hitting those rocks, and that's everyone's bread and butter. It's going to be wide open throttle, hitting those rocks, and we're going to see some fun bouncing up through those rock sections for sure.
So here's my next question. We don't have even the course laid out yet. We haven't seen anybody run. What do you think our fastest time tonight's going to be?
Man, I'll tell you what. I'm going to base our fastest time after we see the first car go, but Jason is about to go. We just got a heads up from Race Ops that they're going to be sending him shortly, and we're just waiting for him to make that first drop. That's a legit commitment right there. You're sitting in that buggy right now. Because here's the other thing. He's sitting in that buggy. We talked about this during qualifying. Front engine buggy, you're sitting in the driver's seat right now. You look over the hood. You don't get to see that first little rock that we get to see. You're looking out, and you probably see a 30-foot drop. That's all you're going to see, and it's not going to be a fun first drop.
And again, the higher the buggy, you might not even see the drop. You just look out and see people way, way far away. So it's interesting to see how that's going to play out on some drivers. Yeah, I think they're trying to ice the kicker up there.
It's going to be fun for sure. So here we go. I think our first vehicle is about to drop in. So this will be our first competitor here at the Holley EFI Shootout, presented by Action Sports Canopies and King Shocks. This is Jason Blanton in this buggy. As Matt had said, it's a big old buggy. We've seen it before, and we're waiting to see some light movement. As soon as we see those headlights move, we know he's on his way, and it looks like he's lined up, almost ready to go.
Again, he's running a 6-liter LQ9.
Yep, here we go. He's made the first
400.
move. Down he comes. Here we are. He's moving in. Kind of a conservative start, but for the best. He's going to be rocking down through. This is the same section, of course, that we saw everybody come down, and that is basically, it's
kicking on the light bar now.
Kicking the light bar on, yeah. Now this is where the course changes. We saw our qualifiers turn left here. They're basically coming out the bottom of idle issues. Looks like everyone here will be turning right and coming up through this section. There's a couple more bigger rocks through here that the qualifying cars did not have to contend with.
Again, you can see how big some of those rocks are next to this massive car. So it's interesting to see his choice of line. Again, taking his time, but also keeping quick, sturdy movement going.
Yep, he's working his way down the bottom. As soon as we see him into the rocks, then he'll be making that big right turn on the sand.
Making that turn, making that big LS engine eat.
All right, so now he's off and he's headed into the rocks of Chocolate Thunder, and this is where we are going to see some action. We've said it all night. We watched the guys come in there. Here we got a big high wide of Chocolate Thunder. The benefit that these guys have versus our qualifiers is they're running a much bigger tire.
Huge tire. Again, obviously today, EMC class all running a DOT tire, so the compound, a lot of these guys run sticky, so the compound is much, much different as well, which plays in huge on the rocks.
Yeah, you can see he made quick work of that rock section of Chocolate Thunder, so we'll get a time from him shortly. getting ready for our next competitor to come down.
Okay, Chris Branton coming up next. Again, he's coming out of the Louisiana crew.
So this will be completely foreign for him because there's going to be no swamps, no gators, no crawfish, no nothing.
Yeah, it's true, it's true. This buggy has been racing with us for a while. Looks like they're getting him ready.
We're just waiting to see his headlights move. As soon as we see him move, he'll be moving in, headed down the course.
This is the Agnes buggy.
Underway. That's the one thing I love about rock bouncers. Now, you got to name the buggy.
We do. We all name our buggies. This is the Agnes buggy. It's a 6-liter buggy with a 3.2 Whipple supercharger on it. Run 2.5-ton Rockwell axles, a little bit bigger than the 14 bolts. Again, you can hear that big boy motor roar. Again, running 46-inch tall USD stickies on there. Absolutely hear that motor scream.
I always tell people that if you're looking for a comparable vehicle to one of these rock bouncers, the only thing you can look at is a legit monster truck.
Oh,
These
yeah.
are high horsepower, big tires, big show.
You can hear the crowd.
You can hear the crowd scream.
Man.
Oh, it looks like we got some action upside down.
Man, get back on those wheels. You can see him trying to upright it. I don't think he's going to get it done.
It is the best part about rock bouncers is that when they go in to hit it, it's going to be hit it, and I'm going to win it or lose it right now.
It is. It's an impressive scene. Again, they always put on a heck of a show. Again, this is Chris. He's coming out of Louisiana, part of that Kryptonite Customs crew. This buggy has been racing with us for probably almost a decade. 6-liter engine. They used to run a big, huge nitrous system. Had some issues. They took it off. Now they run a supercharger setup. 2.5-ton Rockwell axles. Chris and the Kryptonite Custom crew, Ryan Webb, they have an EMC car they're racing this week, as well as a 4400 car they're racing this week, which you'll see.
The best part about the rock bouncer, in all honesty, is that he will come out of that with that car on its lid, and he'll be just as happy as if he won the race, because he'll be coming through here. I'm surprised he's not. Normally, you got to stand up on the belly after that.
Yeah,
you know,
cheer it on a little bit.
Couple arm pumps for the crowd, get everybody revved up, because if you basically flip this thing over, you are super excited. Well,
oh, really? I hear we have a replay coming there.
Replay action. Looks like he just got a bad bounce and then down. It was a good roll too. He had a couple dirt skies there, so it looks like he just got a little bit out of shape. Stood it up on the bat and then laid it over. The cool thing is, in all honesty, I tell people all the time about rock bouncers is, yeah, that may have been a 1 over, 2 over, but the reality is that's just like a regular day in a rock bouncer.
It's true.
When the first rollover happens, you're in good shape. You're just waiting for the next one.
And again, he would much rather get this out of the way in the rock bouncer than in his 4400 car he'll be racing later this week. So, again, if you have to have a rollover, I'm sure he'd much rather have it now versus his 4400 car on Saturday when he's blazing through there.
All right, we got our recovery crew in there working to get him back on all 4 wheels, and as soon as he is done, we have our next competitor lined up at the top of the hill. Once again, this is the Holley EFI Shootout presented by Action Sports Canopies and King Shocks.
What's up, Charles, Chris? Some of our East Coast guys tuning in here with us. It's always great to see where everybody's tuning in from. Usually on our live feed, we'll try to respond to questions, see where everybody's tuning in from. It's neat to see different countries. You know, you always think off-roading is an Illinois thing or a U.S. thing, and then I start talking to guys from Canada.
I would never think that off-roading is an Illinois thing.
Oh, heck yeah.
If someone would say to me, hey, Ian, where's your favorite trail to go off-roading? Never in my life would I ever go, man,
Illinois,
have you ever been to Illinois?
We got it.
That was never on the top of my list.
We have some pretty awesome spots to wheel.
I'll give you got some good pizza?
We do.
Good pizza up there. But yeah, not to step on it. You keep
No,
continue
it's
with that
okay.
thought.
Illinois, you know, we show Illinois some love, but again, East Coast guys, you know, Tennessee, Kentucky have some cool trails. It's neat to see guys tune in from Australia and New Zealand, and we have some guys in Australia, some guys in Italy that are pretty hardcore guys that tune in, and it's neat to see their buggies, and then we start talking shop, and they have some of the same problems we have, so it's really, really neat to see.
All right, so now we've got him back on all 4 tires. He's going to be setting up. And I think next on our list will be Josh Hall. I'm gonna let Matt fire, and he's got all the drivers saved in his phone here. So we got Josh Hall. Oh, he's gonna let me talk on his phone.
Yeah, there you go.
I can't even see that, Matt. I don't have my glasses.
All right, we got Josh Hall coming in from Alberta, Canada. Calgary, where's that? East?
I love how you say Alberta.
Alberta?
Say that again.
Alberta, Canada. Calgary,
I didn't realize he was a Canadian. Let me do this right for you. All right. So here we go. I got it since this. Okay.
Okay.
So we got Josh Hall all the way from Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Is that like east, west? Is that northern?
That's sort of central Canada up there, eh? So
Okay.
he's from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. That's like right north of Montana.
Okay.
He's driving the buggy called Tanglewood.
Yes.
We're not going to say what it's named after. It's named for my Canadian listeners. It's named after popular ballet in Calgary, Alberta. It's he built it himself. He's only had 4 hours of runtime.
Yes, it is brand
today.
new.
Brand new this year, 6-liter turbocharged. It's got the turb skis on there. He's got a Bowman 4L80E, Lomax 205, Rockwell's 4-wheel steer, Overson's ORS. He's got that total like Canadian West Coast mega truck shenanigan package going on right there.
It was kind of weird how many guys in Canada ran the ORIs. They're very, very popular up there.
Yeah, it's you know, the ORI struts, you see them on a lot of rigs, and it just sort of seems to be everyone's personal preference. But this will be a good package to see how we come down here. But, you know, Josh, I think I ran into him before he went and got in his buggy. I asked him if he brought any ketchup chips with him. He said no. No ketchup chips.
Yeah.
And that let me down. So then that's just if you don't bring any ketchup chips down here, that's just not Canadian. You have to bring the ketchup chips. So Josh Hall will be coming up next as soon as we get the course clear. We're just waiting for that. So we're just waiting for our Kryptonite Customs buggy to get his helmet back on, get all strapped in. It is the cool thing about the rock bouncer. You can throw it on its lid all day long, just get it back over on its wheels and drive it on out.
And it barely looks like he even got dirty rolling it over. So those guys appreciate it. It's a very, very neon green color. It's kind of hard to tell in the light, but it's a very neon green color. The grip, usually at ours, again, where if you have a quick recovery, we don't even get out. They just grab depending on excavator, depending on what you call it up there in Canada, grab an excavator, flip them back over.
That's called one of them track hose.
Track hose, okay.
Yeah, you got a track hose up there. Yep.
Or again, if it's a light enough buggy, you can just grab a skid steer or bobcat, whatever you guys call them, grab one of those, flip back over. Side by side is really easy to do with the skid steer. So
it is hard to say the word rock bouncer and light buggy in the same sentence.
It is.
At the end of the day, we're talking like if you're looking at this buggy right now at home on your screen, the reality is you're probably looking at about 8,000 pounds of buggy right there.
This is Josh Hall coming up next. Again, you can tell him with those big meaty tires, 50-inch megas.
Yeah, so like I said, you're looking at about 8,000 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
We got Rockwells in there. I mean, just the axle and tire combo alone probably tips the scales at just over 2K.
Yeah, the Rockwells are huge. Broke a chunk earlier this weekend playing over on back door and a rear axle. Came back, swapped it out, and they're here to party. So we love to see that. It's good times.
So here we go. It looks like they're getting lined up. We just saw our Kryptonite Customs buggy drive on by. So now we're going to see Josh Hall getting ready to head out here shortly. All the way up from Alberta, Canada, representing the Canadian people proudly here.
Jeremy! Yeah, I'm not trying to get hit. Yeah, that's not if I feel like I'm in the danger zone. Okay. Yeah, I just like. Well.
So Matt, we kind of talk about this occasionally every now and then. We've never done this on the shootout. All right, so if you were going to build your dream rock bouncer, if you could build it, what are you going to build? What's going to be the car?
That is like the hardest question. That's like, what's your favorite food to a foodie? That's a really
simple.
hard
It's
question.
Pizza. It's pizza, man. The favorite food is always pizza.
I don't know. Like, you got like shrimp. You know, there's
pizza
there's
is the favorite food of all foods.
you know, a ballpark hot dog.
But anyway, if you were going to build, and you know what? Not to give me the whole specs. Let's look back at some of the super popular bouncers over the years. Which one stands out in your mind as like, man, I wish I had that bouncer? Because I know which one I want.
Hellbent, probably from
No.
Yeah.
No.
It has the most championships and probably the most wins of anybody.
That's the one you want. You want Hellbent?
Yeah.
I want, what was the single-seater? I just had it in my head. He won the big AOP bounty that year, the single-seater Hitman.
Yep.
That's what I would want.
Yeah.
Because it was, to me, I loved it. I think it was 14 bolts, super light brakes on it, nice hub, single seater, a lot of, to me, it was kind of cool. A lot of junk 205.
Yeah,
in it.
yeah.
But that thing worked.
And it's still around. It still shows up at races. Still pops out.
All right, we are now on our way with Josh Hallbig. Look at that drop in. Now this is someone who's committed to coming down this hill, and this is what we talked about. If you're going to win this race, it's going to be coming down this hill.
And I love this view because you can see how, obviously, he tried to light it up as much as possible, but you cannot see how some drops look small but are actually big, or look big but small. So, again, you're trying to play it safe, be smart, get a decent time. Again, he has those 50-inch mega tires, obviously front-wheel steer.
Yeah, he's got a four-wheel steer buggy. The problem with the
and taking a little different line there than we've seen some of the other guys take.
Oh, he's basically taken the qualifying course line from the looks of it. The problem with that is now he's got a whole bunch of sand to drive in. He's got to set himself up, and there's not a lot of traction there.
Here we go. Let's go.
So now he is off into the rocks of Chocolate Thunder. We got a little bit of a delay in our feed here, but we'll get you caught up. Don't worry.
Again, you can hear that buggy screaming through the holler down here. That's a Kentucky term.
Whoa.
Holler.
Yeah, you can't throw the holler around in California. No, it just doesn't. It's not the same thing.
Again, turbocharged 6-liter. Definitely doing some work right now.
I can hear the crowd screaming, so there's some action going on up there. We'll get you to it shortly, but there's something happening. I just don't know what it's going to be yet.
I see dust to the top. I think he's out. Trying to listen, see if we have a time.
Turn this camera around. We lost
Okay.
all of their cameras. Turn this camera around, please.
All right.
We lost all of our cameras. Please turn.
All right, so we are working on resetting a couple cameras here for you guys. We just got a little bit of excitement going on, but I do believe we have a time on our last finisher.
You went the wrong way.
All right.
Oh.
We're here to have a little bit of direction issue.
Wrong way.
Little bit of drama. We'll let people figure that one out. So he may have gone the wrong way.
I don't know if that was the bottom or up at the top.
I don't think
again,
there should be rules. Like, that's the thing about rock bouncing. There normally is not rules in rock bouncing.
we do have a little bit of rules. We usually have flags and banners up. So if you run over one more than a 45-degree angle, or like just wipe one out.
Do you use a protractor for that? How do you know if it's not more than a 45-degree angle?
We look very closely. I assure you. You ever seen that instant replay? That's kind of what we're doing. We're in the booth. We got to throw it to the booth.
All right, so we got Michael Dion from the sounds of it. He's about to drop in here shortly. We're just getting ready to see him come down here. Ooh, so it looks like he's making quick work of this.
Okay, he has a buggy. It's called Chick Magnet.
Great name.
Great name. It's
glitter orange
It's
paint.
orange glitter paint. He is super stoked. He's another Canadian guy coming down. Built him himself in 2020. 6-liter cam heads. I got to talk to him. He's a young guy. I don't know how young, but I'm going to say like early 20s. Obviously making quick work of this course, just thrashing through. You can hear that buggy slamming through that rock section. Again, absolutely getting with it.
Yeah, looks like Mike Dion is absolutely tearing up the course. Look at that. You can just sort of get a glimpse of him heading
Ripping
into the rocks.
through there. He built his own
Rev
sheet metal knuckles. He took them, custom made them, kind of laid out what he wanted. Got 14 bolts front and rear, and is obviously putting those to work right now. I hear the crowd going nuts. I think we're on our side. I can barely see out of our side camera over here that he is. on his side.
Yeah, we're kind of getting a jump. We can cheat because we can do this here. We can see one of the feeds from one of the camera, and it looks like he may have he's taking what we just call like a little dirt nap right now. So that's the cheering that we're hearing right now. It's just a little dirt nap. So unfortunately, he is he probably put on a heck of a show. Hopefully we can throw a replay up of that. But yeah, and so while we're waiting for him to recover on course,
climbing out, waving to the crowd. His 40 spine Brannick shafts clearly held up. So,
and up at the top of the hill right now is Corey Holthouse. You just have to bear with us here. We've got a couple technical difficulties. We're working on getting our cameras set back up on that section of Chocolate Thunder. But right now, next off the line is Corey Holthouse. Matt, what do we know about Corey? Corey looks wide open buggy.
Wide open design buggy.
That's from my neck of the woods. Great.
It is.
Yeah. So that see when you talk about off-roading, Matt, you don't go Illinois. You go damn straight Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. Here we go.
No, so it's wide. He's got a wide open LS3 6.2 turbo 400, best transmission out there in my opinion. Atlas 3.8, 14 bolts, and Morange Performance. I don't know what that.
That's who we'd like to thank. He said they helped get him out here.
Good stuff. So Morange Performance helped him get him out there, but always good to see Buggy roll in from the wide open camp. Definitely a sort of a staple. They've got cars competing in 4400. Obviously, they're well known for their trail rigs.
Yep.
Super high-end trail buggies.
They are, and the lines, and that's what I tell everybody, the lines on a wide open design chassis, you can tell those cars because the lines are so sweeping and sexy, and it looks like a sports car chassis, I guess was what you could kind of define it as, that hood line, that nice rolling tube bender that looks so sexy.
Yeah, Adam's definitely come up with a design that's very signature.
Yeah.
We were talking about earlier with our qualifiers. You know, you could spot those Jimmy's chassis, a Bomber chassis, a Miller Fab chassis, and now you can always spot a wide open designs car.
Again, those sexy lines. I got to hang out with Adam a little bit earlier this week in the camp. Some of the Kryptonite Custom guys and the wide open designs camped together. Kevin and a few of them are out there, so it's really cool to see that and hang out with those guys. Chat. Kevin Porterfield. There's Adam McKay. A few of those guys that have been here for a while, so kind of awesome to see. Those guys get out there. So the wide open design chassis is really neat. We have some doing bouncing tonight. Speaking of Jimmy Smith, we have a 2009 Jimmy Smith chassis racing tonight, and it's a rear engine. So I'm kind of excited to see what's going to happen with that.
That'll help him on the downhill.
It will.
He
can absolutely fly.
I would love to go down. My car that we campaigned in 2009, 2010 here at Ultra 4, back before it was even called 4400, it was just called King of the Hammers. That was just basically what we brought. Ours was a rear engine. Myself and Jimmy Penner from the old Essentially Off-Road camp, it was my co-driver. Having that rear engine was great going downhill.
Oh, yeah.
Little unnerving sometimes going uphill. We did put it on its lid and sledge, unfortunately, and that kind of was one of those things, but that's just part of it. So the rear engine is good sometimes, bad other times.
Yeah, and again, it's kind of interesting to see how this is going to play out. I'm excited. Again, he is one of the fastest drivers at downhill in a side-by-side, so I'm super excited to see. Looks like they got the chick magnet back up on wheels.
Yeah, and while we wait for our next car to take off down the trail, we were talking. So what? I'm sorry, I forgot. What was your ultimate rock bouncer? Which one do you want?
Probably Hellbent. It's probably up there.
Hellbent,
Again, it's a 43-inch sticky. So and you groove them. You do that Tennessee cut as you're talking. Tennessee.
That's where you
do that
think about,
Tennessee cut. Take about half the weight out of the tire.
Yep.
Now, obviously, it makes it a lot easier to puncture, but you save a lot of weight. So, all right, Corey looks like he's kicking off here with that downhill section, trying to make quick work of it. Get that wide open design chassis. Some of those guys are out here, so we'll see. Wow, absolutely flying through there. And those are big drop-offs.
Yeah, but these are these situations where you're going to have to commit to these drop-offs and come down them, and it looks like he's doing well. And then we're going to be hucking her right into this section. That's where it changes from the qualifying course, is where they turn right there, and then they have to drop down into the sand. So he's got to make it up over this section.
Ripping through there.
Always kind of easy to see that wide open, that very signature double B pillar look right there.
Oh,
that
yeah.
We see a lot from Adam's buggies. But as he comes down right here, he's going to come over the rocks, get into that dirt, and then it's all about the throttle.
Run an LS3, 6.2 liter. You can hear it absolutely scream. Those 14 bolts will hold them together. Again, thrashing through the rocks in the downhill section.
And then he's up into Chocolate Thunder. Looks like we're going to see some action.
Trying to
up there
make
at
quick
some
work
point
of that.
in time.
Yeah.
It looks like he's trying to make his way up top. I think he's clear.
I believe this is Dalton Hamilton next, possibly. We're just waiting to see him drop in. And it looks like there he goes. Oh, looks like Dalton Hamilton maybe he's coming down through that section. And as we said before, this is where the turn is, right here. And unfortunately, it looks like he may have taken the wrong turn. We haven't got confirmation from Race Ops as to what's going to happen when people take that. But right now, looks like we've got our drone back up, which is awesome. So now we're going to be able to chase Dalton into Chocolate Thunder.
And again, we've seen a wrong turn made, and it again ended up in a DQ. So I don't know if that line is going to be an option line, and they'll let that stand or what. Again, this is our drone footage here, which I tell everybody I hate our drone pilots because sometimes they make things look really easy even when they're not. So, but again, our drone guys have such beautiful coverage. So
here's what I would be upset about. If I'm sitting down in camp right now knowing that tomorrow I have to qualify in my 4400 car after watching a bunch of hooligans and rock bouncers tear up Chocolate Thunder, I'd probably be a little upset. Oh, unfortunately, it looks like he's getting out. I think he may have let the smoke out of the front of that truck. There was a lot of smoke coming out of the front of that vehicle. I think he may be calling it quits. Next, I'm hearing we have Corey Hawken, I believe.
Copy that from that whole DNF run. DNF.
All right, so we're just hearing from Race Ops that unfortunately this run will be a DNF. Looks like he is done at the bottom of that rock section in Chocolate Thunder.
Okay, the next one, if this is Corey McCormick, they said?
Carson McCormick? Carson McCormick? No?
No. Un momento, por favor. That means you're never getting a refill in Spanish. As they run to the kitchen.
Corey Hawkins is
Corey Hawkins.
Yes, looks like Corey Hawkins is left as we're watching this Toyota in Chocolate Thunder. We saw him come down. It looks like he's got a lot of smoke coming out from underneath that hood, and that's not where smoke should be coming out from.
I see he came out and he's waving, so I'm not sure if something's on fire there or if it's just maybe the block has left the chat. I'm not sure what happened there.
It is hard to tell. He's looking in there. But this is Corey Hawkins next. What do we got with Corey? What's Corey rocking on this ultimate Holley EFI Shootout presented by Action Sports Canopies and King Shop?
Well, we've seen a lot of LSs. Now we're going the other direction. This is a 3.4 Toyota.
Oh, all the power.
A Toyota 5-speed as well. We're going to back that Toyota engine up with a Toyota 5-speed.
Stick. And
you know what? We're not going to change things. We're staying with Toyota transfer case as well.
Of course. Well, the question is there one or two Toyota?
You know what? He just said one, so there might be twins.
He's not a real Toyota guy
I'm not
unless
sure.
He's got like multiple transfer cases in there. So it's Toyota.
Toyota, and then we got 60 up front, 7 in the rear, 42-inch swampers, beadlocks. Ask him who you want to thank. He said all my Oregon people to help get me here. So
all his Oregon people.
All the Oregon people.
That is like a legit Pacific Northwest build right there.
Yeah.
They loved it. They still love the Toyotas up there. So it's Toyota, and then
60s and 70s.
60s and 70s. Yep, that'll be good stuff. 42-inch TSL swampers. That'll be a good mix. But right now, we're just waiting to get our course cleared before we let Corey drop in. Looks like our recovery crew is getting set up to pull our last competitor out of that section of Chocolate Thunder. I think they're setting up to basically pull him all the way back down.
Yeah, that's what I would guess so. We had seen today during qualifying, we saw several cars just kind of stacking the mountainside. They kind of just got them out of the way so they keep qualifying, ripping through. So.
All right, looks like he's backing up. We're gonna probably hook up a strap him out of there. So Matt, I'm surprised that you didn't choose a Timmy buggy if you're picking your favorite.
That is a Timmy buggy.
Oh, is Hellbent a Timmy buggy?
Yeah.
Oh, see, if I was picking a Timmy buggy, it'd be Showtime.
Showtime's a great buggy.
That
Don't
was
get
my
me wrong.
That was my favorite
Showtime's a
Timmy
great buggy
ever. The problem with that buggy is you had to put it on like a pair of 80s
Yeah.
jeans. It was
When I
very, very
told him one
tight.
time Hellbent was my favorite buggy, and he said that Standback was the same buggy, just twice the power. And I was like, well, yeah, but I just love the look of it, you know.
I can see that.
It's kind of like it's the last buggy I think they got built that still looked like a buggy before they started getting really crazy looking, you know.
See, I would say Showtime's that buggy.
Yeah.
After that, I think a lot of them got a little crazy.
Showtime's definitely up there. Got a handful of those, you know, Jimmy Smith chassis still out there bouncing around every once in a while, pop in.
Yep. All right, so while we watch our recovery crew get in there and get this recovered, we're going to look at this. Just look at the people stacked up in that one section there, Matt. So for everyone up here in Chocolate Thunder, I just want to say thank you for making the trip up here. You've got the best seats in the house because right now we are working hard to get our live stream cameras back up running. We're literally broadcasting, obviously, from the middle of nowhere. But look at the number of people who have made the trip up here to watch this action. And as we work through and get our cameras back online, we'll do our best to bring this to you at home. Obviously, I know you all want to see this Holley EFI Shootout, and we want to bring it to you. But once again, sometimes these things just happen.
It is.
You
And
know?
again, I love that shot. It just shows how many people are packed in at this event. It's so cool.
It is a party.
That there's that much of a crowd just packed in around. Again, you can see the pizza truck there. You can see it's a very popular item as well.
You can, as far as I'm concerned, like that's probably the most popular part about being up at Chocolate Thunder is the fact you can get a pizza up here.
You can see some of the rigs still spaced down there, getting ready, getting down the staging section. It's super cool. They're trying to get them off there. I still see a lot of smoke coming from that front end.
Yeah, it could be as simple as a cooling line out there. Don't seem to be too worried about it, so it could be as simple as, like maybe a broken radiator hose or broken radiator. Oh,
Okay.
it sounds to me like we're hearing over tech that unfortunately Dalton has no steering, so this recovery is going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, you hate to see that. Again, that's the downside of the full hydraulic steering. Full hydraulic steering, you could literally turn it in the worst conditions with a pinky finger. Unfortunately, when you lose an O-ring, a seal, a gasket, a line, now you have none.
As we watch our recovery crew working hard to get Dalton off course, we're going to take a quick break from the action here in Johnson Valley OHV. Once again, this is the Holley EFI Shootout presented by Action Sports Canopies and King Shocks.
Proprietary patented race technology. Proudly made in the USA. Unparalleled customer service and support. The choice of champions. King Shocks, the leader in off-road shock technology.
Introducing Nitto's all-new Nomad Grappler crossover terrain. Built for the adventurous types, on-road or off. Nomad Grappler brings with it legendary Nitto toughness, while providing a smooth, forgiving ride for the path less traveled. Stand strong when the pavement ends.
Welcome back to Johnson Valley OHV. We are here deep in the middle of the Holley EFI Shootout presented by Action Sports Canopies and King Shocks. And what you're watching right now on your screen is a recovery. Unfortunately, Dalton made it down the downhill through the sand wash over into the rocks of Chocolate Thunder, and it looks like he's lost all steering in that truck. So our recovery crew is up there trying to get him off course before we send our next vehicle down and into the race.
We talked about several of our drivers being from Canada. We have a lot of people from Alberta cheering us on the live feed. Appreciate that. Appreciate everybody tuning in. And so excited to see where everybody's tuning in from across the world. the 2023 King of Hammers Shootout.
Yeah, Matt is over there keeping track of all of the social media. So if you want to jump over there and get a shout out, jump on the social media feed. As my good friend Miles would say, hashtag it up. Or you could just, use a hashtag.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Just, use tag us.
Hashtag.
Give us your at.
I think
we'll drop a share.
The formal hashtag was KOH 2023. We were in the media tent earlier. They were giving us like a list of things we need to make sure we use. It's
I like
cute.
formal hashtags.
You're a big hashtag guy?
I'm a big everything guy, man.
Yeah. So we talked about what my buggy would be. What would your ideal buggy build? Because you've built a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I have built a lot of buggies, and I did build a rock bouncer, and I thought it was great. But I think the reality is when I built that rock bouncer, I learned a lot from building it, and really, my buggy would be the Hitman buggy. The old single-seater would be the one I'd want. I think the winning formula for a rock bouncer, and I'm just saying this as a spectator and a fan of the sport. I think the winning formula is a single seat.
Yeah.
I think that it's obviously high horsepower. But if you look at the people you see some of the drivers, they fall into those single seats, like Batmobile will drop to that single seat for a little while. Even Timmy's single seat, but he's still the width of a two-seater.
Yeah.
I think the hot ticket when you see these guys come in there and they build a nice, light, single-seat buggy, they kind of show up and show out. And they do really well.
They do. And again, like I said, to talk a little bit about, wow, you can see the smoke pouring off that thing. Again, may have blown a hydraulic line since he has no steering. They might be leaving him there just to keep the course clear and speedy. Again, the Hornet that built the buggy you built a while back? That rock bouncer?
Well, we called it the Lambo buggy.
The Lambo buggy.
Because it looked like a Lamborghini.
It did look a lot.
And then when the new owner, they took over, Clyde took it over, and they basically powder coated it yellow, and they turned it into the Hornet after that. Yeah, that was
like 950 horsepower?
It had a smooth 1K on the dyno.
Oh,
we
okay.
We detuned it down to like 9.25.
Okay.
Yeah.
I raced against it. I remember it was very fast.
Yes, it was probably one of the stupidest motors before people did stupid motors.
It was.
Because it was 1,000 horsepower, but it was a flat plane crank, big block Chevy, so it could rev to like 9,500 RPM, and it would rev like an LS.
And it revved loud, too.
Yeah.
It had massive exhaust that just ripped.
Yeah, so it was a great car. But yeah, and it's still out there.
It is.
Having fun, which is cool, man. But as we're watching right now, we're watching Dalton get recovered. We did see one of our big forklifts move in there. Looks like he might be trying to go in there and help. The biggest thing here is they want to get him off course for safety. They want to get him out of the way before we drop in our next driver. Unfortunately, he lost all steering, and that is a terrible scenario to be in because trying to get a rig off trail with no steering is not easy. There is a good chance that he's actually not in a bad spot right now. You could probably just leave him there. I don't think anyone is going to get in his way. He's kind of behind that big rock. Look at that sweet recovery vehicle, Jeepster.
Mike tunes in and says, hey, I'm working at Vancouver, but I'm still tuning in to watch the shootout because it's one of my favorite things to watch.
Good for him.
Shout out to all our people out there working on the clock with their cell phone watching the shootout. We appreciate that. It's good to see. Love that. We got a lot of Canadians in here.
Well, it's winter up there. There's not much to do, man.
It's true. It's true.
It's cold.
I also noticed a lot of guys I interviewed had built their own chassis, built their own buggies, and they made that same joke. I said, man, it seems like a lot of guys have built their own chassis up in Canada. And he said, yeah, well, it's really cold in the winter. We don't have anything to do. So.
Yeah, that's when you were saying that we watched the previous Canadian driver down, you said, I don't know how old he is, but he's not that old. But you got to remember, in Canada, you age half as fast, Matt, because you're only outside for half the year.
That's true.
Yeah, the rest of the year, you're hibernating. You're literally hibernate, yes. So it looks like right now, it's hard to tell if that's the recovery crew's plan or if their plan is to get, no, it looks like they may still be trying to get him off course. So it looks like they're going to pull some winch line out, probably hook up right to the wheel, get the wheel turned with the winch, and get him pointed around that rock. Unfortunately, he got into that rock.
Again, we hate to see that, but we do appreciate our recovery crews up there, getting everybody moved around quickly. So we appreciate all of our recovery guys. I know they were out there earlier today scoping out where they were going to park the rigs to get the best speedy recoveries going on. We still have quite a few drivers to go. I think we're probably 4 or 5 into our night. We have 21 drivers total, I think.
21 drivers. How many of those drivers, Matt, would be like legit rock bouncer vehicles?
I'm going to say, as far as like when I say rock bouncer, I'm thinking East Coast, Midwest guys. I'm going to say 6 to 8.
6 to 8.
However, we have like 6 to 8 East Coast, like Oregon guys that run the Havoc series. Again, there's probably 6 to 8 guys that run the Havoc series. So those are kind of more West Coast bouncers, but they're still pretty legit. We have 4, 5, 6 guys from Canada that come down, all running what I would compare more to a mega truck. Again, we have a lot of those in Illinois because we have a lot of mud, so we see a lot more mega trucks up there. We have an Ultra 4 car as well running later on tonight. I'm pretty excited about. And I think he's going to do really well or put on a heck of a show, one of the two.
I think based on this course, I think the Ultra 4 car is going to do incredibly well.
I think so.
While we watch these guys come down here, you know, I think the reality is as much of a show as the rock bouncers put on, basically looking at this sort of like down the hill through the sand wash up Chocolate Thunder, I think we're kind of leaning towards a good Ultra 4 course. I think that's what we got. But right now we're watching, we had to bring in the heavy equipment. It looks like to get Dalton out of here. It looks like the recovery crew is done recovering. And they said, let's bring in the big dogs. So we got the telehandler in there. Go in there and scoop them up, haul them out.
Yeah, hopefully they can get him wheeled out again. If they can at least get the front end picked up, probably wheel him out pretty quickly. And I figured they would just kind of shove him to the side, and kind of like some of the Ultra 4 guys got qualifying today who had to break it. They kind of shoved him to the side, but it looks like they're going to try to get him all the way out, which is nice. Hopefully it's just a hose. He can grab a spare, get it put back on, and still be able to at least do some rec wheeling this weekend.
Yeah, I think they're going to do exactly what you're talking about, Matt. I think they got him looped up with a nice strap there. They're going to try and get the front end off the ground. Once his front end's off the ground, I think he'll be in easily good shape to get him down here.
Carol's got a watch party going at her house. A bunch of friends came over. They're all jamming out, got it on the big screen. So that's super cool to see everybody get the watch party going on. I know we have some East Coast and Midwest guys tuning in. The Bacon family, you know, Big Bacon, Little Bacon, Bubba Bacon, Tim Bacon, all the guys tuning in to watch it. I'm sure they're back on the East Coast cheering us all on.
Yeah, this was always one of our favorite events to watch back the years that we didn't make it out to King of the Hammers. You know, you basically have this whole, it's a perfect time, you know, everyone's home from work, and the timing works out perfectly, and it's always fun to watch a shootout. It's a good time.
And again, I got to watch some of that Class 11 racing yesterday, which was absolutely insane. I don't know if my teeth could handle that kind of pounding from the 6 3/4 inch suspension travel those guys have.
I think you're giving them a little bit extra there, to be honest with you, Matt. I'm a Volkswagen guy at heart. 6 3/4 sounds like a lot of suspension travel.
How much travel do they actually have? Is it less than that? It's not much.
Well, you got to remember the biggest thing of those cars is that those are torsion bar front ends, so it's just a hard, but they're tough.
They are.
And the fact that they're out there pounding away in the desert, the Class 11 class is getting even bigger to this day, and it's pretty cool to see.
Again, I'm a diehard rock bouncer guy, but that Land Rush start was incredible.
You cannot go wrong with a Class 11 Volkswagen in the desert because it just doesn't look like it belongs.
No.
And yet they go out there and they get beat on so hard, and they put on such a good show, and they do things that you would think you can't do in what essentially is a stock vehicle.
And to see one of the T1 or T2 trucks on the side and watching the bugs pass, it was, I think, even more amusing to the guys, you know, cheering them on. But
it always happens. You will always see a Class 11 go up things that, you know, a $1 million trophy truck struggles with.
Yeah.
And here you have a Class 11 just rolling up there in its little 1600 air-cooled dual port doing its thing.
Yeah, it was super cool to watch those guys, and they absolutely gave it heck. It was super, super awesome to see. And again, the Land Rush start was so incredible. Watch them all take off. And I said, who's going to go? Like, they're all the same horsepower, literally. They're all 53 horsepower, all of them equally.
It's like all racing, Matt. Yeah, those are all 1600 dual ports, but they're not all the same 1600.
There's some tricks up their sleeves, what you're saying?
There's always tricks up your sleeve. You can have a lot of fun with a little 1600cc Volkswagen engine, which is awesome.
I've heard some prices. What does a race buggy like that cost?
I honestly wouldn't know. My VW life, in all honesty, I still have my first car, which is a 74 Volkswagen Type 1, but mine's all Cal Custom stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those situations that it wouldn't be outrageous.
Yeah.
But it's going to be one of those situations where it is it's labor.
Yeah.
You're not gonna. There's not. No one's gonna be lined up to build you.
Oh, yeah.
A Class 11
Yeah.
race car.
I've
you
heard
know?
I've heard 8 to 12 range, and that's not necessarily the top tier race buggy. That's just kind of an average
I can
race
see that.
type buggy. Again, 8 to 12, and I thought, you know what, that is super cost effective to get into racing. I mean, that's cheap. You know.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
There's guys that have more in rims and tires than some of the big teams, and 8 to 12 grand. So, kind of cool to see him watch.
All right, so we're watching Dalton slowly get recovered out of here. Got the telehandler in there doing his job.
We call him a JLG. I think that's just the manufacturer, but that's kind of what we yell on back home. Again, still tons of smoke pouring out from that. It must. And he pretty quickly hopped out and looked under the front, so I think you could quickly tell there was an issue in the front end.
All right, so while we're watching Dalton slowly be recovered out here, once again, we are coming to you live from Johnson Valley OHEV. This is the Holley EFI Shootout, presented by Action Sports Canopies and King Shocks. I'm here with Matt Holt, and we are basically watching buggies run almost the qualifying course sort of backwards, I guess. They're coming down idle issues. They got to make a little bit of a turn about halfway down. There's a different out that the qualifying course went. It's got to come over some bigger rocks, dropping down into the sand, and then they're headed up into Chocolate Thunder. We've seen lots of action so far today. A couple rollovers, a couple vehicles coming out, but it looks like they're slowly getting. There's the crowd.
Crowd is packed.
As always, the crowd is always packed here for the shootout. Everybody wants to be out here to see the action, to see the excitement.
I feel like the crowd's getting bigger as the night grows on. I got a shout out from Caleb Thompson. He said, Matt, can we get a shout out? The Ultra 4 crew in New Zealand is all having a watch party, checking you guys out. Thanks so much.
What time is it in New Zealand right now?
They're, what, 8 hours ahead of us, I think? He also said that his buddy Carl.
All right, so right now I'm getting notification that we need a medic over to the right, if anyone's listening in the crowd, we need a medic headed over to the bottom of Chocolate Thunder. Very bottom of Chocolate Thunder, right where the telehandler is.
Again, the front wheels look like they're getting drug. I don't think it's, I'm not sure what's going on there. The front right tire doesn't look like it's moving at all. Caleb said his buddy, he said it's 4 p.m., and his buddy Carl is building the first ever rotary rock bouncer. So
all right, so it looks like while we get Dalton out of the way, we have our next buggy coming down. But based on what we're seeing coming down here right now, I think he broke right out of the gate.
Yeah, again, we talked a little bit about this, some of those guys trying to push that downhill section. Obviously, you push the buggy a little bit too hard, and this is your result. Again, it looks like there's definitely
his tie rod
situation
has
is not
officially
going well.
left the chat, Matt. That's what's happened right there. It fully looks like the front end of that car, the tie rods have left the chat. He has got 2 tires trying to travel different ways down this hill, and that's unfortunate.
We got Bill, one of our recovery guys, heading down to talk to him. And so
I think
figure out
he's
what
just
the
going to say,
best
hey,
option is.
man, your stuff's broke, dude.
Yeah, Bill is one of our local recovery guys that helps us at our races, so appreciate him coming out and seeing what's wrong. Again, they'll try to get him. He's at the very top of the hill, so do you try to pull him backward?
Pull him up. Yeah, I would absolutely pull him up.
I mean, you can see the buggy right
behind him.
behind
There's a
him.
better chance that if you hook onto him and pull him up the hill, there's a better chance that those tires are going to straighten out. You try coming down that hill, those tires are going to keep doing that because of the suspension angles and the alignment set up in those trucks. When you try to push a vehicle forward with no tie rods, they're both just going to keep turning right and left. If you drag them backwards, they will self-center, and they'll basically be able to drag them up the hill a lot easier than pull them down the hill.
Yeah, hopefully they can get him back up the hill. My mom just sent me a text message, and it's a picture of the big screen mounted on the wall, and they're watching the shootout with us, so pretty awesome.
So we're hearing that possibly not only do we have a broken tie rod in that vehicle, we may have a no reverse. So unfortunately for him, that may be a situation where
not ideal.
This one might need a helicopter recovery.
funny story. I actually have seen a helicopter recover a side-by-side out here before.
I have seen a helicopter recover out here at Kingdom Hammond before. I don't think we're going to be calling one in right now.
It was a very large helicopter as well.
Yes.
You can, yeah, he's like, hey. Yeah. I love the drone just like hanging out. You can see the light on the front of the drone lighting up the ground. Like, hey, yeah, buddy, right here's where you broke.
Maybe you think the drone could hook up to that? No.
Yeah, you know what?
What's the average carrying capacity of a drone nowadays?
I've seen some pretty beefy drones out here, so if we all hook them together, maybe.
I don't think that would work. Yeah, you can see it right there. When you got both tires headed different directions on a compass on an east and west like that, yeah, you're not going anywhere. All right, so we're going to try to get him hooked up to a recovery vehicle up at the top of the course and drag him back up. Yeah, that's an unfortunate, but at least it happened near the top. We'll look at it that way. Better
true.
Up there than halfway down.
Then halfway in the middle.
Yeah, I think what they're trying to do is figure out if we can get a little bit of turning out of those tires. All right, so we are just waiting for the recovery crew to get to the top, get him hooked up. All right, so while we wait for this recovery, we're going to take a quick look back at some of the action from our qualifiers today. We had nonstop action here in Johnson Valley, watching these guys qualify for the four-wheel parts every man challenge. So kick back, relax, watch some of these highlights.
Right now we're dealing with a meta in our life. Go back into the action that we're working on right now. We're recovering a vehicle.
So it's decided. We'll park even deeper into parking spaces so people think they're open.
Surprise! Can't hear you, Jerry.
Sorry. Yeah, can we get a system where when someone's bike is in the shop, then we could borrow someone else's?
No.
Or you can get a quote with America's #1 motorcycle insurer and maybe save some money while you're at it.
All in favor of that?
There's a lot of buttons and knobs in here.
All right, Chase. Number 23. It's 2023. This championship's yours. Let's show these guys what's up.
Easy, boys. It's not over yet. Big dog still gotta eat.
Whatever you say, big dog.
Seriously? These fools think I'm fried?
They know the deal.
Are working on the Holley EFI Shootout presented by Action Sports Canopies and King Shock. So right now we are trying to get the next driver that came down through here. I'm waiting on Matt to cue me in with his phone here. Let me know who's on track. All right, as we watch him make his way through this section of the bottom of idle issues. Coming through that side, dropping down in through the rocks. We're gonna see him come down to this little sand wash section down here.
Get hit in that hot straightaway,
Yeah,
that
Matt,
high-speed section there.
My friend Matt is working on that driver. We're trying to hear from race ops as to who it is. Unfortunately, with all the communications going on right now, we're not 100% sure. As soon as we find out who it is, we will definitely let you know. But he's headed up into that section of Chocolate Thunder. The drone's chasing him up through there. And this is that sort of rock pinch point that we watched all the qualifiers have trouble with all day today. We're going to be in for a good show right here as we can actually get it. We got a camera down in there showing the action.
Oh, we go.
Oh, he made quick work of that. Good job. All right, so now we're just waiting for them to get ready to send the next truck down this section of her problems. Here we go, dropping in. Matt, do you recognize that buggy at all?
I don't. Look, kind of coming in looking like a moon buggy there.
Looks like we have a little bit of moon buggy action coming in.
That right-hand drive, single-seater.
Single-seater dropping in, lots of action. Should be able to make quick work of this course because of that specific suspension and buggy style. I think this buggy is definitely set up for this course coming down this section of idle issues. That's where they make that right-hand turn. Different from our qualifiers, headed up into the rocks. Yeah, that's like a legit OG moon buggy looking thing. I absolutely love it.
Again, you can see a lot of our guys have taken that right line. We have a few that have cut left. Again, I don't think it was part of the course. Making quick work of that section. Ripping through there.
Down into that sand wash and a hard right, and away he goes into the rocks of Chocolate Thunder. We're going to chase him up in there. Oh, now we got a little clock going on in our picture-in-picture. So right now we're basically going to be able to time him as he goes through. Looks like we're at a 12-second mark, 13 seconds. Doing really well coming in through here. He's working his way through. Oh, looks like he's gonna take that high right line. That's where we saw a lot of the side-by-sides go during qualifying for them. All the majority of our Legends and modified cars went up on that left-hand line. Looks like he's making quick work of that high right line, and he has headed up out of Chocolate Thunder.
Again, you can see how massive the crowd is packed back behind there, even behind the finishing line up there.
Yeah, lots of people out here to watch the action here in Chocolate Thunder. Shootout, always a popular event. All right, and it looks like we're going to have another vehicle dropping down in. Lots of fun here.
Got that early Bronco front end up there.
Yeah, he's got that OG Bronco style. Always fun to see these guys and their buggies with the Broncos.
The 1966 and 1977, that classic Bronco, early Bronco look.
All right, so now he's come up over that section into the rocks, and once he gets through this section, he dropped. This is Colin coming down in this early Bronco, about to drop down the rocks into the sand, and away he goes.
Ripping through that sand.
Great spot, chasing up into those rocks in Chocolate Thunder. Tearing up in there, excellent line, makes quick work of that. Away he goes.
Those 43-inch Mickey Stickies up there doing work. Again, that's kind of a rock bouncer feel. Ripping through that finish line. All right, we got Paul Cassian coming up next.
All right, so we're waiting on Paul to drop in here shortly. As soon as we see movement, looks like, yep, he's dropping down into the course.
He's one of our Oregon guys jumping in here with us. Running Your Mom buggy, which we've seen out here before. I love that name.
That's a good buggy name. It's always fun to see the names these guys come up with. But yeah, he stopped in here earlier. Let us know he's got a nice fresh motor in that car, and he's gonna make it work. So here we go. Here comes the Your Mom. He's driving Your Mom up over the rocks, and he's gonna drop down into the sandy section at the bottom.
And you can tell some of these guys definitely have wheeled many, many times before by how aggressive they are at absolutely thrashing through these rocks, making that buggy move. Hear that big motor scream.
All right, comes down and away he goes. He heads into Chocolate Thunder, heads into the rock section. See which line he chooses.
Again, trying to go a little bit more of that left side line. Hammering down through there.
It's a great line if you can commit to it, and he did a great job coming up through there. Good job.
108.75. Got Mike Wick coming up next.
Mike Wick will be our next car on course here. That's part of the Holley EFI Shootout, presented by Action Sports Canopies.
So
and
this
King
is a guy
Shots.
I got to talk to a little bit and actually convinced him after he made the 55-hour drive here from Canada to race his buggy. It's called the Hulk Attila because it's a little bit green and it's a little bit purple, so everybody call it Donatello and Hulk. So he said Hulk Attila. It's actually got a Hulk on the hood of it.
I thought maybe he was a Nutella fan.
Oh, that's yeah.
So here comes the Hulk Attila buggy.
Yeah, again, he was soloed it, 55-hour drive coming from Harriston, Ontario, Canada.
That's a commitment. I know.
Yeah.
I don't know where Harriston is, but I know where Ontario is, and it's a far, far way away.
I asked him if he Ironman the whole trip in one shot. And he said, no, I had to pull over and sleep about halfway here. But he said, 55-hour drive.
Look at that. He's rocking that old school S10 body.
That Blazer. Got Turbo 400 in there, LS. He built it himself. Goes out, absolutely thrashes on it, running 44-inch boggers and the 16-inch ORIs. Got a Dana 60 running some Brannick shafts on there, so huge shout out to the Brannick guys. They help out a lot with the EMC class, I know. Stan used to race. He kind of retired his chassis after last year. Him and his grandson raced it in the EMC, so that was pretty awesome.
All right, so now we're watching the Hulkatella buggy headed into the rock section here in Chocolate Thunder. And I think at the end of the day, based on what I heard from the crowd, I think we're going to see some excitement here. What we're seeing on camera, we got a little bit of a delay, so sometimes we get to see what happens before, or hear what happens before you get to see it. But he's lined up on that left-hand side. It looks like he's going to give it a little bit of throttle and put on a good show, because that's what you got to do.
Bounce through there. Again, he wants to give a shout out to Industrial Hot Dogs. They're one of his sponsors, helped get him here. Wants to thank his wife, Tracy, and he's a retired firefighter.
Oh, there you go. Look at him digging through there. Good job.
He also raced the Tough Truck, the Minto Tough Truck. He's been doing that for about 6 years. That's a little Tough Truck challenge they have going up there in Canada.
There we go. Excellent job
And
giving
through the
that
finish
power
line.
and through the finish line. Good job. 55 hours later, he knocks off a 2-minute time. Good for him.
And that was Mike Wick.
Good job, Mike. Anthony Brazello, I believe, is our next car on course.
And he's a SoCal guy, or a local Cali guy, racing a buggy called Midnight. It's an inline 6-cylinder. I said, oh, so it's a Jeep. He said, oh yeah, automatic.
Inline. I could hear it by not hearing it.
Yes.
That's how I
Yes.
know it's a nice little straight 4-liter straight 6. So away he goes.
Automatic. Now, since you run automatic, he said, oh yeah, because a lot of the Toyota guys we saw tonight were running 5 speeds. NP205 with an Eco box. Run some 40-inch Mickey Thompson Baja bosses, and he wants to thank his family and friends. Again, he's a local Cali guy.
There we go. Looks like he's going to be coming down through this section. He's going to be hanging that right into the rocks, like we saw before. It's always fun to see these wreck wheelers come out and throw down during the shootout.
See that back seat, cooler strapped in. He's here to party.
I think this is probably one of the coolest things about this part of the Hammers. You know, it really gives these wreck wheelers out. They can come out almost. They're competing.
Oh yeah.
You're not going to take that car and throw it into a 4400 or an EMC class, but you come out here and have a little bit of fun with a shootout.
Oh heck yeah.
Just make your week.
And again, I love the fact they took a Cherokee, chopped it up, did some stuff to it. You can see the coilovers there. Again, got the cooler strapped down in the back. So he's definitely, after this, is going to go wheeling this weekend, hang out with his buddies, watch some more racing. So glad Anthony was able to come out with us.
Looks like so now he's headed into the rock section. And as we talked about before, there are multiple lines here. There's a far right line, a far left line. Looks like he's headed to that right line. If you do it right, you can come out of there looking like a hero. If you do it wrong, you're on your lid, unfortunately. It looks like he is going to come out there clean. Good job, Anthony.
Almost through the finish line. Again, he's using that rock bouncing, that when in doubt, throttle out.
Always with the throttle, never hurts. All right, so we'll have a reset of our clock now that All right, so right now we're watching Wayne Lewis, I believe, come down through this section of the trail. He's opted to go with just the rock lights on the car.
That little nighttime mode.
Yeah, he's got a nighttime stealth sneaky mode there.
Making quick work of that downhill section there.
Little 4-wheel steer buggy. All right, so he's made that right-hand turn right where all of our qualifiers were taking the left to go down, but he's made the right up through that rock section. This is almost like a little glorified moon buggy looking thing, but he's got a 2-seater in it. So he is going to come down through this rock section, pick his way through, and then he'll hang a right and head off into the rocks that are Chocolate Thunder.
That's chopped up. It almost reminds me of a Samurai looking type chassis.
It does almost look like a Samurai. Looks like he stuffed it in low there a little aggressively, but that's okay. You see him make his way through that. I believe that's an Arizona tag on the back of that rig, and that is a legit Arizona desert rock crawling buggy. Light, nimble, small, four-wheel steer, big tires, have some fun. All right, he is into those rocks at Chocolate Thunder. Looks like he's gonna have no problem in there at all. Working that four-wheel steer.
I just gonna say, using that four-wheel steer, I think he's definitely very well acquainted with that vehicle.
All right, now he comes out the bottom section up through the finish line here with a time of 2:09.
Travis Skelton, one of our East Coast guys, again, grew up racing a side-by-side. Now he up to a rock bouncer. It's a 6-liter bored out rear mount engine, so it's a little different than what we've seen so far tonight, but more of a true bouncer. This is a 2009 Jimmy Smith chassis. And I think he will, bouncing section through there. I think he will be one of our fastest times in the downhill section. Again, having all that weight behind him definitely makes a big difference.
It does make a huge difference as he makes that right-hand turn into the rock section. And he's pulling through here. You can see him come by that Holley EFI banner. And then he's gonna drop down into the sand.
Wow! Hear that motor scream.
Oh, there you go. All those bald eagles coming out of that exhaust. All the bald eagles. Into the rocks of Chocolate Thunder.
Running a turbo 350. Got a 60 up front, 14-bolt rear. And hammering down right now. Oh, trying so hard to get up there.
Excellent time so far. He's working hard to get through there. All right, so he's sitting there. You can see him working his way through the rocks. Unfortunately, this took a bad bounce and ended up in that pinch rock section.
You hate to see him get hung up there. Again, super light buggy. You can see how narrow the shocks are at the front and the back.
But he did give it the ultimate solution there, which look at that. Oh, I think that's something coming apart in that right front. That would definitely be a U-joint or something coming apart. Yeah, when you've got that many sparks coming out of that right front, that is a front shot.
It doesn't look like it's pulling there anymore.
It is not pulling. I'm quite familiar with the color of those sparks.
Yeah.
That was a chromoly, maybe a little bit of 300M.
Yeah, maybe some 300M in there, yeah.
That is definitely a U-joint coming apart, and then also taking out an axle shaft, unfortunately for him, because he had a heck of a run.
Smooth run. The down, again, I've seen him many times in the downhill section, the side-by-side, where he looks like he's just skipping down the hill. It's going so fast. Again, being a rear mount, had all the weight in the rear, definitely helped him keep that momentum going. Had quick thing. Unfortunately, didn't quite get there. Ended up breaking. I think I agree. Broke a U-joint of some kind, then sheared off those ears, which usually quickly follows. So
yeah, it's just a consecutive carnage at that point in time. You break that U-joint, you're going to take out the inner and outer shaft. Yeah, it looks like he is going to be climbing out of the car. We'll probably get some recovery. Yeah, you see our course workers going down, having a quick conversation with him, and obviously I think it's going to be a recovery at this point. Once again, as we've said all day today, all these course workers, everyone that you see out here working with these red vests on, and these are all volunteers helping out here in Johnson Valley for the 2023 King of the Hammers, presented by Progressive Insurance, powered by Optima Batteries.
Man, you hate to see that. Had such a smoking time to get all the way up there and break something.
Excellent
You
run.
hate to see that.
Excellent run. We thought for sure we were going to see a fast time, and that's just sometimes how it works. You know, you think you're going to have a fast time, you're going to set the world on fire, and then you turn around, and it's a simple part.
Again, Travis coming out of Kentucky. He's one of our East Coast guys that made that trip. He's a holler guy. He knows what's up. He's an East Coast guy. Again, raced a side-by-side with us for years, 427 Travis Skelton Racing. Last year upgraded to a big bouncer. He's going to come do some bouncing with us. Again, rear mount engine. It's a 2009 Jimmy Smith chassis that they've kind of tweaked in it. I asked initially, I said, was it initially a rear mount engine or did you guys change that? And he said, no, initially it was a rear mount engine. So they just stayed with the rear mount engine and just obviously have tweaked some stuff since then. So super happy to see him go from the upgrade to from the side-by-side up to the big bouncer. And I have no doubt you'll see that thing thrashing on trails very soon near you. Again, you kind of see the replay of some of the buggies up at the top. we've had some pretty intense action coming through tonight.
Yeah, we've had a great night so far. Lots of action here in Chocolate Thunder. Once again, this is the Holley EFI Shootout presented by Action Sports Canopies and King Shocks. Coming to you live from Johnson Valley OHV. We're basically coming down Idle Issues, and then we're going to be turning right through the sand wash and heading up Chocolate Thunder. Very similar race course that we saw with our qualifying course earlier today, except this is all about a sprint. It's down one hill, over the sand, and up another one. You can see in that replay some of the recoveries that we've had so far today. While we're in this replay, I just want to remind everybody out there in our crowd, let's be safe, let's be smart tonight. Remember where we are. We're in Johnson Valley. We are in the middle of nowhere. Let's take care of each other so we can all come out here and have fun every year. Every year we always sometimes have incidents out here that unfortunately happen. But as I've said before, let's all be responsible for our own safety, responsible for the people around us. Keep everybody safe. Let's all get back to our campers tonight in one piece. Just use your head, have some fun, but not too much fun.
Yeah, but not too much fun.
The appropriate amount of fun. The amount of fun that you can talk about tomorrow and be happy about.
That's the most Canadian thing I think you've ever said. The appropriate amount of fun. We got about 8 drivers still to go on our list. We've had about 5 DNFs, and I'll run through the change-up order here. Corey Holthouse had a 56.98. He's currently sitting on top of the box. Again, we got about 8 guys to go yet. Paul Passon, one of the Oregon guys, he had a 108. Oh,
all right,
looks like
and
we're
now
kicking
we have
back off
another
again.
car coming down the hill right now. Tyler Lyon is going to be coming down. He turned on all the lights for us, including the big whips in the back. Oh, and then after Tyler,
I hear him.
Oh, we're going to have some fun next. But right now, this course and who we're watching, we're all talking about Tyler Lyons as he comes down here, just picking his way down the hill through the rock section. Not going crazy, but just making sure he can get down the rocks, come out the back end.
And you see a guy taking his time, being a little more articulate, kind of being very careful. I kind of think of Cameron Steele saying, slow is fast, you know. Trying to
Not
make
in
sure
rock bouncing, slow's not fast in rock bouncing. Matt, you know that.
I know,
Fast is fast in rock bouncing.
But you want to make sure you get it to loud is fast.
Loud is fast.
You want to make sure you at least get it to the finish line. So
just remember, the whole point of rock bouncers is to turn money into noise.
Oh, we do that very well.
Yeah, money into noise.
I feel like that's most Ultra 4 cars as well. Like,
possibly, but I think that's all motorsports.
It really is.
What's your job? I turn money into noise.
And the louder the noise, the more money it takes you to get there.
Yes, absolutely. All right, as we're watching him slowly work his way through the sand wash, head up into that section of Chocolate Thunder. He's having a little bit of an issue here. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, a little chatter going on. I'm not sure he has a brake stuck on or...
It doesn't seem to want to go, but it kind of goes and then stops going. But it looks like he's on his way now, so now here we go. Now he's into the rocks, bouncing around, having some fun. May have just had a little bit of an issue in that sand. That sand is actually, you get a lot less traction than you would think in that sand.
Yeah, again, tire pressure plays a big role too. We've seen a bunch of different tire compounds.
It looks like his tires are really full of air. I'm surprised they're that full. And that, like you said, that could be a big difference when we're in that sand trying to find traction. But right now, we are excited about our next driver.
There we go. Yes.
Our next driver is Paul Wolf.
Yes, and he is driving his 4400 car that he is racing on Saturday. So he said, I'm going to come out, I'm going to make a splash. I want to do all the events. I want to race them all.
Look at the speed that Paul is pulling coming down this downhill.
And again, he's in a UFO car.
And this is risky. I mean,
he is.
He's got to qualify this car tomorrow, and he's got to race this car on Saturday. And here he is out here in the Holley EFI Shootout, throwing down with this Ultra 4 car. So here's Paul Wolf putting down a blistering time.
He's flying. Again, roaring that big motor. Again, it's a UFO chassis. He blew his motor earlier this year, racing at the Sturgis race. Called up Brian Croft. Brian Croft had a motor for sale, picked up Brian Croft's motor, put it in there. Again, this is not a cheap motor by any means, too. You can definitely hear that motor screaming through there, which, again, this is a 4400 car.
But you know, so here is something that I'm going to look at that, 51.73.
Wow, that is our new leader.
And here is one other thing I want to point out. So we just said, I can't believe Paul Wolf would do that. He has to qualify that car tomorrow. He has to race that car on Saturday. But guess what Paul just got?
Yeah.
He got himself a free hit on this qualifying course.
Oh, yeah.
So that could be good for him. That may have been part of the game. He's like, I'm going to go out there and see if this car's going to be able to take that qualifying course.
And I was worried about, breaking a lot of stuff, and I was talking to some of the guys in his camp, and he said, we brought plenty of spare discs.
Yeah, it's important.
We kind of planned on breaking some stuff. So, again, that was your new leader, Paul Wolf, in his 4400 car. The Gomez brothers kind of made that chassis, that UFO chassis, famous. So if you go, there's like a 6-pack sitting in their booth right now.
Yeah, Joe Thompson and those UFO chassis, that is starting to become the staple of our IFS IRS cars out. And right now we have William Karras coming down. I would not want to follow Paul Wolf's time on this, because no matter what you do, you're not going to be as fast as him. Paul Wolf, I think, is starting to become the next Cameron Steele. It's
he
like,
really is.
racing everything this week.
Yeah, he said, we'll just do them all. We're going to spend all the doll hairs for this weekend. We're just going to race everything.
Yeah, might as well. Might as well. All right, so this is William Karras. We just saw Paul Wolf lay down a blistering fast time of just under 1 minute on this. Oh, and looks like William's taking the opposite line down.
Again, look at those aluminum panels. Somebody spent quite a bit of time grooving those panels. Again, take a little bit smoother line, I think, but it also adds some time, so we'll see if that pays off for him.
So here goes William coming down. He's now through that sand wash, and we're going to follow him into Chocolate Thunder. Heading into the rock section, as we watched today, there are 3 different lines in here, and we've seen everybody take different. And we're watching him make his way through this. He's taking that high left side. That's the same line that we saw Paul take. Looks like he's going to make quick work of it as William Karras makes his way up through the rocks of Chocolate Thunder and out the top with a 149.8.
All right, we got Chris Kaufman coming up next, and it looks like he is thrashing down this hill. Chris Kaufman, it was in the Showstopper, the TC chassis we talked about, Showstopper, and he won it in 2021. He also is in the process of building a new buggy at home, so initially when I heard he was coming, I thought he didn't get his buggy done in time, and he said, oh no, I'm racing Showstopper. So definitely doesn't mind coming up thrashing. Running an LS engine with 14 bolts front rear. It's a Dana 60 hybrid 14 bolt in the front end.
This is the only car we've seen so far that's been able to be on pace with our current leader. Paul Wolf just put down that fast time. The question will be when Chris gets into the rocks here, if he can come out the top. He's got
about 10 seconds.
Yeah, he's got to make some moves in here. It'll be all about how he hits these ledges here and comes out the top. I don't think he's going to beat him, but he's going to put on a heck of a show doing it.
Again, that was your 2021 shootout champion right there, and again, just squeaking in right behind Paul Wolf for that 54.
Looks like he's got a 54.14. All right, and now that we got Chris off the line, we're going to have Fred Patton coming down here shortly. All right, so Fred Patton making his way down. Looks like a little Toyota.
It does kind of look like Toyota.
Looks like a little Toyota action coming down through here.
And it sounds like a Toyota as well.
And by sounds, it means you can't hear it.
It's like a sneak up on him.
Sneaky Toyota sounds. Yep, yeah, that is definitely a little pickup truck.
He's running a Toyota tube chassis vehicle. It runs the Turbo 2RZ, so he's a true Toyota guy.
If you're dropping the letters and the numbers, you're a Yoda guy.
Yeah, it's called Green Bean.
Green Bean,
which is kind of funny because it's orange, but that's the name.
Green on there. I see green in there too.
He's running 43 comp cut stickies. I guess you can see some green there now.
Yeah, it's got green on the body panel. It should be called Green Orange Bean.
Yep. Green Orange Bean.
Yeah, that'd be the way to do it.
Making quick work of that downhill section. Definitely hear that Toyota motor working.
Yeah, he's still 30 seconds off our leader, though. Paul Wolf came out of that bottom section under 30 seconds, which is incredibly impressive.
You can hear that 5-speed shift, you know, the pause and then just wrapping out the Toyota motor.
He's just rolling the gears in there as he goes. All right, he's headed into that rock section. He's probably going to pick one of his 17 transfer case gears and one of his transmission gears, dump the clutch and see what happens. Into the rocks, working his way through.
My brother's kind of a Toyota guy, so I understand the twin, triple stick, double
all
clutch.
The sticks.
All
so many sticks, yeah.
3-speed, the 4,962 to 1 ratio.
Certainly looks like it worked for him as he made quick work of that rock section of Chocolate Thunder.
Again, huge shout out to Fred, doing a great job there. All right, we got Cash LaCroix coming down the hill next.
All right, if you don't know who Cash LaCroix is, you're not following rock bouncing, because Cash LaCroix is probably one of the most recognizable people in this sport.
Again, we talk quite a bit about that TC chassis. This is stand back.
Cash used to be the kid to watch in the side-by-side. Now he's into the rock bouncer. Would he be the youngest rock bouncer?
I would say yes.
Yeah, he's definitely one. If he's not he's probably right now.
And this is not his first year competing in the shootout either. He's competed in it
he's
previously.
Before. I've seen him compete in his UTV before.
Again, you can hear that big
and he's
block
going to come
Chevy.
out the bottom of the section of the sand wash. You can see all those horsepower screaming.
Again, ripping it to the big block Chevy. Runs a power glide, so that's just a high-low gear.
Just a one, yep, just a 2-speed glide. Yep, then that's the reality of it. You know, I always tell people, you know, rock bouncers are like drag cars. You need a couple speeds, and that's it.
Really it is. Again, running SCS transfer case, 14-bolt.
Yeah, he made quick work of that. Came in at 57.11.
Wow.
I don't know how close that is to Paul Wolf.
51 was Paul Wolf, so
he's
not
close,
quite there.
But not enough.
Again, Fred was a 54, I believe. So again, just squeaking there, I think right in at 3rd place. Again, that's an unconfirmed time. We'll get checked out here shortly.
All right, and right now we've got Carson McCormick. And Carson McCormick is going down the hill.
Oh, man.
Wrong side down. Looks like he was able to gather it up and stop it, thank goodness. And now he's going to maybe back down the hill. Would be the right now I think I'd be calling for a recovery.
Yeah, you know what? I would, but at the same time, I feel like he's confident. This is called the Fence Pipe Suzuki. And he's running a 4-cylinder Suzuki engine. However, he's running Toyota axles, so a little bit of a hybrid there.
I'm going to assume because it's called fence pipe, that roll cage has made it a fence pipe.
Yeah. I was like, and he said it really fast. He's like, fence pipe again. I'm like, can you repeat that? I said, can you just spell that for me? He said, yeah, sure. Running a 5-speed stock Toyota stock transfer case. And again, Toyota
the
axles.
co-driver just completely removed the right rear wheel. It is no longer, the right rear wheel has left the chat.
Man.
I think that he's done for this particular event. It appears to no longer be attached to the vehicle in any way.
West Shore Springs and 4x4 he wants to give a shout out to. They help work on the buggy quite a bit.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate roll, but it looks like they're both okay. Co-driver's out. Looks like they're working on getting a recovery set up for him right now.
Again, him and his buddy were down there hanging out earlier. Seemed like 2 younger guys just having a really awesome time. So at least now they got some cool stories to tell when they get home.
Well, and they got something to do later tonight and tomorrow. You know, that's just the truth, right? I mean, that's just how it works. Unfortunately,
and you know what?
They have to fix the junk. And, you know, but honestly, there's a good chance. I can't tell from here, but based on the setup of that rig, there's a good chance that was possibly a wheel adapter failure.
Maybe.
And if that's it, he's lucky, because that's an easy fix.
It really is. And again, even it being a Toyota rear shaft, he might.
Look at, there's a co-driver. There's a co-driver with commitment. He's going to push. That Trep is not a light tire to push up a hill, and he's going to push it all the way up the hill.
At least it's a 37. It's only a 37.
That's true.
Could be a little heavier, but
I can't tell if there's a brake drum in that or not. But yes, it's certainly
it looked like you could see a shiny, small, about 2-inch diameter. So that might be the shaft. Good news is there might be a guy with a rear Toyota shaft you could borrow, beg, steal, so you can still get some wheeling in before you have to head home.
Yeah, if I was looking for Toyota parts, this would be the place to get it. I'd be hitting up all the locals and saying, hey man, where do I find some Toyota axles for this thing?
We went to got dinner one night. We drove by and I seen an early Bronco on the side of the road, so I called the guy. There's like a whole field of cars. I said, that's Illinois. If you park it near your barn, park the vehicle next to your barn, like within 2 years it's a puddle. Out here it's like 60 years later, it still has mint paint, you know.
Yeah. All right,
Okay.
so while we watch this recovery go down, we got a little bit of a replay of this rollover as he came down the hill.
Oh, man,
Oh,
frontwards.
he got
Wow.
all up on the brakes there, unfortunately. That's just a terrible scenario. Looks like he just dropped in and stood on that
Yeah.
brake pedal. That is an unfortunate.
But again, at least he landed back on his wheels,
Oh,
you know?
yes. Watch it. See, drops in, all brake.
Yeah.
Not good. Not good.
And there's not much you can do at that point once that wheel's stuck in there so hard.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yep.
you're kind of along for the ride.
Yeah, but it looks like they've got him. They got him hooked up. They're going to be pulling him up. Here we can watch it again. You can just see, unfortunately,
Man.
but looks like the fence pipe held up just fine.
It
That's
did,
good
it
stuff.
did.
All right, so right now we're watching the recovery crew get in the front, and they're going to be pulling him back up the hill. That's the right decision there. He's got the tire off to the side. They'll get him back out the top, and then I think we might have just one driver left after that.
Okay. Again, it's great to see the recovery crew out there getting him winched back over, getting him pulled back up safe. I see 3 or 4 recovery rigs. That might be the, and still 3 tires turning, so that's handy.
Yep.
Still got good steering, it looks like. Again, I'm not sure how many horsepowers the Suzuki's putting out, but it's doing all she can.
If it's a legit Suzuki, not only does it have a lot of horsepower, or not a lot of horsepower, what it makes up in horsepower, it'll have in all those extra gears. Probably a good 6.5 to the case.
Yeah.
Maybe if it's got a Toyota drivetrain, maybe another little doubler thrown in there just for fun. But yeah, they're going to pull him out the top.
You can see that Warren recovery crew up the top there helping him get out. Luckily, he broke really close to the top, so it was pretty easy, and it was already pointed back up. So
He was pointed the right way, which was great. Yep.
Yeah, we appreciate if you're going to roll over, make it convenient for us as well. Mitchell said 62 horsepower.
62
you know,
HPs.
You know what? He's probably not wrong.
All right, so we're watching our Factor 55 Warren recovery crew. We're hearing that we have, after we get him off the course, we'll have two more vehicles to leave the line tonight.
Kind of a great shot there. They might move that top vehicle, see if they can't get him repositioned a little bit. Almost out the top.
They'll get him out of there. In essence, he's kind of just recovering himself. He's
Yeah.
using his own winch and just using them as an anchor, which is great to see. Good to see these guys being self-sufficient out there, taking care of themselves. And as we've said before, you know, while we're waiting for this recovery, let's take care of ourselves out there, you guys. I know we're out here to have fun, out here to have a good time here at King of the Hammers, but remember where we are. We are in the desert. We're surrounded by a lot of fast cars and a lot of fun. Let's take care of ourselves, take care of each other, make sure we all get back to camp safe tonight. All right, everybody, I just heard from Dave Cole here. Once we finish our Holley EFI Shootout, presented by Action Sports Canopies and King Shocks, we'll basically be done for the night. But if there's any race cars, 4,400 cars that are here to basically practice for tomorrow's qualifying, they're going to come in. We're going to send them up the course, let them have some fun. But then after that, the course will go back to the public. Get out there like we always, like everyone always does every night here in Johnson Valley, out here and have fun on the rocks. But as Dave said, and as we've said all night, let's try to be safe out there. If you want to watch these guys play in the rocks, stay back, watch them from a safe distance. This is not a safe place to be. You don't want to be in the rocks with these cars. So give them some space. If you're a wheeler and you're in there wheeling, that's one thing. If you're a spectator, be a spectator, give them the space to have fun, and that way we all make sure we get back to our campers at the end of tonight.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll have lots of fun stories to tell in the morning.
Heck yeah, a little common sense goes a long way when you're out here dealing with this much horsepower, this kind of terrain. Again, using common sense helps out a lot. Look at 37-inch trip there, trying to just lug it up the top of the hill.
Just wrenching it up there. Great job. Excellent work between the co-driver and the driver getting that car. Literally, they self-recovered themselves. All they needed was a winch anchor, and it's good to see. All right, here we go. We're just waiting for this vehicle to get recovered out the top of our race course tonight for the Holley EFI Shootout presented by Action Sports Canopies and King Shocks. We have a couple more cars left to hit the race course. And as we said a few minutes ago, if there's any race cars out here that want to coming in to do some pre-running, we're going to let them go up and have some fun. And then once they've had their time, get prepped for tomorrow's qualifying, give the course back, or I guess we'll give the trail back to the public. Once again, as always, we're out here on public land. So if you want to come out and do some nighttime wheeling, this is probably the most popular trail out here at night.
Especially right now with this, you can see literally the crowd from the one side of our booth all the way other wraps around, completely around us. So definitely going to be a huge thing to everybody come out and play around with.
But as I've said before, if you're out here spectating, watching these rec wheelers have some fun, just take care of yourself, take care of your friends, take care of each other, make sure we all get back to camp tonight. Stay out of the rocks. Let these guys, if you're in a buggy and you're in the rocks, that's one thing. But if you're spectating, stay up. Give them the space they need to have a good time. But in the meantime, right now, we are waiting for this recovery to happen. Looks like we just got to get him a little bit out of the way. They're just kind of hung up on that top section. Look at that shot. There's a great shot from the drone coming around. Look at all the people down there watching it. You can see
That's incredible.
There's our little hut down there. And there's the Dang Brothers Pizza right behind it. I can see the smoke and I can smell the pizza.
That's one of the, I wish that you could take a camera and get the most realistic shot of all the lights lighting up the hill, especially if you're headed into Yucca Valley at night. Looking back and seeing all the lights covering the hill is just such an incredible sight.
Illinois.
Looks like they finally got him recovered.
Now we're just waiting for our next racer to get into the lineup there, and they'll drop in. We got 2 more race cars, I believe, tonight as part of the Holley EFI Shootout, presented by Action Sports Canopies and King Shocks. All right, so it looks like the next car that's going to be leaving the line is Corey Hines. I believe that's Corey right there getting lined up at the top. 4-wheel steer buggy.
Don't worry, it'll make the live show.
All right, there's Corey at the top. All right, they're just giving a quick check there as we're getting ready to watch Corey Hines come down the hill. And there he is, he's off. All right, making his way down idle issues here. Corey's asked us to give a shout out to his daughter who's at home, I'm assuming at home, not feeling well, watching us on the live stream.
Again, making quick work of that downhill section, running the 6.660.
That's a lot of sixes.
There is.
And 1-0.
And 1-0, yes.
Coming down through this section, using that rear steer to make that right turn.
Chose to run with a passenger. You can see that co-driver in there having a good time. One of those super swampers. Get her done. Definitely hear that motor roar.
Yeah, there he is, taking off through the sand into the rocks here. This bottom section of the rocks at Chocolate Thunder. Make a couple good bounces there as he tears up in. We'll see which line he takes. Does he go to the far right or the far? Looks like he's taking that far right line around that pivot rock.
Again, you can see how big some of these rocks are compared to the chassis and the tires on that vehicle.
Yeah, and it's also, you can just see how much dug out that one section of the race course. This is going to make for an interesting qualifying tomorrow. He's working that rear steer to get around that rock. Putting on one heck of a show in there with that buggy. Chewing up the dirt. Lots of fun. Looks like he's going to come out the top here pretty good. Put that rear steer to work through that section, and he's coming out the top.
Looks
like he's going to come in just under 2 minutes.
Get flying through that top section. So the buggy's still together, still do some wheeling the rest of the weekend. That was a great run by Corey. I think we got Jason Gray left.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to hear from race ops to see if he's actually up there to go. I think they're just checking in.
That's right. I do remember hearing something about that. Jason Gray was running the Mischief buggy, black and orange. I think he was one of our Canadian guys as well. Yeah, he runs the part of the Havoc series and blew his motor this
All right,
weekend.
So that looks like that's the end of our Holley EFI Shootout presented by Action Sports Canopies and King Shocks. We've done all the drivers. Matt, who have we got sitting on our leaderboard right now? Is it still Paul Wolf?
I think so. I'm waiting on our updates here. It looks like Paul Wolf is sitting on the top of the leaderboard. Again, squeaking right behind him, a few seconds behind him, Chris Kaufman. Corey Holthouse coming in third. Cass Coy coming in fourth. Paul Passon coming in fifth.
It's Passien.
Passien.
Like Passien.
Passien.
That.
Well played. Well played. Colton Kingery coming in at 118. That's your seventh place. Jason Bartman, 122. Marcus Alonso was 131. Mitch Huber was 137. Frederick Patton was 149. Anthony Rossio was 152. Tyler Lyon was 157. Corey Hines was 159. Mike Wick was 202. Daniel Lewis, I think, is 200, right around 200 mark. Josh Hall, and then after that, I believe, after Josh's, it was just DNFs. So we had 5, 6 DNFs there.
So Paul Wolf came up to show up and show out, showed up with that Ultra 4 car, said he's going to put on a show, and that's exactly what he did. He came down here, and he's just here to race everything that he can.
He is. He brought two different side-by-sides, raced the B3 class earlier this week.
Yep, he
raced the 4900.
Did amazing in his qualifying on the side-by-side. I believe he's leaving right off the line. So as we said earlier, we're just looking around to see if there's any Ultra 4 cars. So we're here to do a little bit of pre-running. I don't see any right out of my booth.
We had a few guys asking before if there was going to be
check.
time to pre-run, and I said, well, there might be some time after. And he said, well, can we get here at 6 a.m.? I said, that's a Dave question, but we'd love to. So, again, they might be. Again, you can see the mass exodus of all the vehicles out there. Going to go in, probably head back, get some snacky snacks, hang out a little bit.
Yeah, I want to thank everyone for joining us here in Chocolate Thunder. Once again, for the Holley EFI Shootout presented by Action Sports Canopies and King Shocks. Tomorrow morning, live 8 a.m., it is the 4,400 qualifiers. So this is going to be all of our big hitters. But right now, we're going to basically take a quick look back at the highlights. Matt, it's been great being with you here in the booth. As always, calling this shootout, lots of fun.
It's always a lot of fun. Again, I love all our viewers tuning in from all over the state and all over the country. We appreciate all of our Canadian guys jumping in. That was super neat to see. And the people that were tuning in with the watch parties. Again, I know some of my buddies were texting me saying they're hanging out. Again, we love to see how awesome and how widespread this off-road community is. And it was super neat to get to do that with you tonight. Appreciate that. Yeah, I love our light-out group. That's pretty awesome.
Absolutely, and as we've said before many times, if you're staying here at Chocolate Thunder to have some fun, watch the locals, let's just remember, stay safe, take care of yourself, take care of the people around you. Let's get back to Lake Beg. After this, we will see you tomorrow with qualifying for the 4400 Race Nitto Race of Kings, powered by Optima Batteries.